Hey guys, welcome back to Karting with Chris. Today's video we are going to be in Copenhagen, Denmark, trying out the Racehall indoor go-kart track. Now if you saw the thumbnail of this video, you're probably thinking I'm racing other famous racing drivers, but in reality I am only racing against their times. Now here's a list of all the famous racing drivers that have been to this track. Excuse me if I botched the names. So the fastest driver is Nicole Aya Sylvestre, and he is a touring car driver. In second, there is Frederick Vesti, and he is a FIA Formula 3 driver. And then in third, there is Noah Watt. He is a touring car driver. And then fourth is Jan Magnussen, who is Kevin Magnussen's father. Now the rest of these names that I did not try to pronounce are either other racing drivers or celebrities like famous singers or famous actors. So before we begin this race, I'm just going to walk you through how the layout goes of this track. So unlike in America, it's not the person with the fastest time wins. There are actually two sessions. There's a qualifying and a race. So in qualifying, yes, the fastest person does win. And what you win is you get to start at the front row. So I got the second fastest time. My brother Ben got the fastest time. And in the race, it is a standing start. Now, hopefully everything I just said makes sense. If it doesn't, you still have questions, you can ask me. But during qualifying, I tried recording it, but I accidentally hit the GoPro button 2 times. So enough of that mumbo jumbo, let's get this race started. So it is a standing start, and as you can see, there are lights, and you're about to see how fast my reaction times are.
And it's lights out and away we go!
So as you can see there, I've got the reflexes of a 19-year-old amateur go-karter who does YouTube. Now we've got my brother in front of us. He started on pole, and it was quite easy for him to keep pole because it's a standing start. There are people behind us. As I said, there are 9 people driving today, including me and my brother. But the people behind Ben and I were a second slower than us, so we didn't really have to worry about them too much. It's just going to be a straight-up battle for first. As Ben goes defensive right off the bat, he does not want me getting in front of him. Now, I don't really do a lot of standing starts. I mainly do rolling starts. You probably already know this. But it is fun to do a standing start every once in a while, really show off your reflexes. And it is even, in my opinion, although in these rental karts, the lightest person is probably going to get the best start. So for this video, we're trying something new. Obviously, we're in a new country, but I'm also going to not only show you my race, but I'm also going to tell you what I think about things and my opinion. If you're thinking about going to this track, I hope this is an accurate representation of what you will experience. I know a lot of you guys don't live in Denmark, but if you do and you're watching this, I hope this is a decent video. Now for this race, I was using a chest mount, not a chin mount. I could not get my helmet across the border because I would have had to check it, because you're only allowed 1 carry-on, and I'm not checking my helmet just for a go-kart race. So that's why you get this view. If you do like the view, tell me, and maybe I'll do some more of it. But in my opinion, it's kind of hard to see what's happening up front. So getting into this race, you can see my brother has a small gap in front of me, but one thing I noticed throughout this race is that the first half of the track, my brother was faster than me. He would pull away. But then the second half of the track, right about here is where it starts, I would start to catch up to him. So you can see the gap to him right now. It's about 1.5 kart lengths, and then you can see that going through this corner right here, I'm going to close that gap, and I almost hit him there. I had to actually back off. So that's one thing you'll see throughout this video. So we're about to go down the main straight here, and I'm going to tell you now that the slipstream does nothing around here. It's probably too small to have any real effect, so don't count on that to help you. But going through this corner right here, this is where Ben would pull away from me the most. And you'll see me experimenting with lines throughout this video because, again, I'm still trying to learn the track. So these karts are just like your average rental karts. They've got a lot of understeer, and I was actually surprised that these were gas-powered because you don't normally see gas-powered karts indoors. So that was a pleasant surprise. I prefer gas-powered over electric. The electric ones are just way too heavy, too much understeer. But these ones, these felt nice. In a straight line, they're not as fast as the American rental karts, but in the corners, I felt like they were a little nicer. Also, throughout this video, you'll hear me compare this place to places in America, probably specifically Texas, because that's the only real experience I have with rental tracks, and so that is the baseline for me. As I grazed the wall there, you really don't want to be grazing the walls here because obviously it slows you down. One thing that really annoyed me is I kept forgetting I had bumpers on this kart. In America, the bumpers are plastic, as Ben gets the wall there, but in America, the bumpers are plastic, and here they are made of metal. So as you can see, we're a little closer to Ben. Hopefully we can get a move done. As he hits the wall right there, we're going to have to back off. We were a little too close to him to go for any moves. We would have just ran into the back of him, and that wouldn't have helped us. But one thing I liked about this place is that it was very wide for an indoor track. I mean, as you can see, the building is quite massive, but most indoor tracks, the track is super narrow, and it's really hard to pass someone. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned yet, as I look for the move on my brother right there, wasn't quite a good move. It was a bit of a late move, but that's just really me just telling him, hey man, I'm behind you, don't forget about me. But one thing I haven't mentioned yet is that my dad is also in this race. I think he's in third place at this point in the race. He said it was a bit of no man's land for him. There really wasn't anyone who was the same speed as him. He's about as good of a driver as I am, but he is a little bit heavier than me, so he won't be able to keep up because weight is a strong factor in go-karts. But I know for a fact when it comes to driving race cars instead of karts, as I go into the wall here, I know for a fact that my dad is way faster than me in a car. So if you're watching this, hi Dad. Now, one thing I will say, and this goes for all rental tracks, is always bring your own equipment. That means your helmet and your gloves or GoPro mounts or stuff like that. This place did have gloves. They did provide some, and they did have helmets that they provide. But 9 out of 10 times, the stuff they buy is the cheapest thing they can buy, and it is not the best quality. So going through this right-hander up here, this one right here, Ben goes in a little wider than me, and after watching this video, I probably should have been doing what he was doing, but I don't know why I felt that narrower was faster. And then going through this corner right here, Ben goes in a lot more narrower than me, so I can carry more speed, but he travels less distance. And then coming out of this corner, I think we're still the same distance behind each other. So you can do whatever you want with that information, as Ben slightly grazes the wall there. But yeah, the track is really wide, so it's kind of hard to tell if you should be tracking all the way out or not. So while we were in Denmark, we also went to a medieval, old-timey village place where they had cool events, and Ben and I somehow found a way to race karts there. I didn't bring my GoPro, of course, but it wasn't really an official kart race. It was an old-timey kart race. So you can see me here leaning forward trying to deploy that human DRS as my motor cuts out towards the finish line because Ben stopped pushing me. But I'm going to tell you now, Ben and I absolutely humiliated some Danish little kids, and we brought home the victory for Team USA. So we're on lap 6 now. We're still in second place. We're still trying to hunt down my brother. Like I said, he's faster through the first half of the lap. I'm faster than the second half of the lap, and it kind of cancels out, so it's kind of hard to pass him. But one thing I will say is that the driver's meeting for this place was not in English. So when they were trying to grid us up, Ben was on pole, and he had no idea what they were talking about. And they kind of got a little mad at him. But I think Ben figured it out eventually. But yeah, Ben and I don't speak Danish. But if you say, can you repeat that in English, they will repeat it in English. Now, I don't know how to say sentences in Danish, but I know a couple words. I know the word for hello is hi. The word for thank you is tak. And the word for speed is fart. I kid you not, on the road signs where it says speed limit, it actually says fart limit. and it kind of cracked me up the first time I saw it, but apparently that's the word for speed. So I will say this race did feel like it went on forever, and I am going to skip ahead because it's just me catching up to my brother during the second half of the lap and him pulling away during the first half of the lap. So I'm going to skip ahead so save you the boredom of this race. So we skip ahead. We're on lap 8 now, so we only really skipped ahead one lap. But Ben and I started to catch up to some back markers. You can kind of see them up ahead. And this is going to be a bit worrying because we don't want a back marker in between Ben and myself because that will allow him to pull away. So when Ben goes to pass a back marker, we're going to stay right on his bumper and try and follow him. So going through this right-hander up here, Ben's going to dive on the inside. We're going to follow him. We give him a small little push. And then going through this right-hander up here, Ben has always been faster out of that corner. And he's going to look around the outside of the guy in front of him. I can't quite follow him. And I try to hold it around the outside, but the guy pushed me out really wide. Sing the Sebastian Vettel Blue Flag song.
Blue flag, I mean, it can't be true, can it?
And now we can see that Ben has pulled several kart links on me. So sadly, that is one of the misfortunes of racing. You can't really control the back markers when you catch up to them or how fast they're going. So Ben caught up to them and passed them at the right moment. He did what he needed to do to pull away from me. So like you've seen throughout this race, Ben and I are about evenly matched. And so this will not allow him to pull away, but it also won't allow us to catch up to him. So we're going to hope for one of two things. We're either hoping that he messes up, maybe skims the wall or something, or we catch up to another back marker and that person holds him up. Also, something I just noticed as I'm editing this video, what is that plastic square box on the steering wheel? Does anyone know what that is? Because I just realized it. I didn't actually realize it while I was driving, but I just realized it now, and I can't really think of a reason it's there. Sorry if that was a bit off script there. So we're on lap 10 now. We only have a couple more laps left in this race, and although you can't see him, there is a back marker up ahead in the distance, and hopefully we catch up to them before the race is over. So at this point in the race, I decided to flip on the nitrous oxide switch to help me catch up to Ben a little bit more, but I think he did the same thing. As you can see, we're both going pretty quick here, but we are slowly catching up to a back marker, and I'm just trying to figure out at what point on the track we're going to catch up to him so I can make my plan. Obviously, when you catch up to a back marker, you just got to really read them properly, trying to figure out which way they're going and what's the best way to get around them. So we're on the main straight here. Ben has caught up to the back marker, and I think he's going to look for the dive bomb through this first corner up here, and the guy kind of cuts him off here, and we're going to get the cut back on him. Passed him pretty easily. It didn't really have to go offline that much. There's another back marker in front of Ben, and he's going to really hold him up here as he kind of goes defensive on Ben, and Ben actually rams into him a little bit. The guy shoves him narrow, and now we've really caught up to Ben, and now the race is back on. So now we're within one kart length of Ben, and there is yet another back marker up ahead, and hopefully he holds up Ben and not me. So we're going through these couple of hairpins up here, and Ben hits him, not predicting where he's going very well. I get around him very smoothly, didn't gain any time on Ben. The back marker actually tried dive bombing me through that last hairpin there, but I held it off, and we're still not that close to Ben. We've definitely gotten closer, but we're still going to have to put in a miracle to pass him. So usually when Ben and I go to rental tracks, Ben is usually faster, as he is right here. Except for DKC. Ben has never been able to beat me at DKC. But every other rental track we've ever done together, he usually beats me. And around this track, there is a Jumbotron displaying live times. And so I was able to keep track of what kind of lap times Ben was doing, what kind of lap times I was doing. And near the end of the race, as there's a Jumbotron right there, near the end of the race is where Ben started putting down his fastest lap times. I think that is because I wasn't putting as much pressure on him as it was in the beginning of the race. So I'm going to skip ahead to the end of this race. Ben and I really didn't get much closer than we are right here, and we didn't really catch up to any back markers, so it kind of was a boring race near the end. But if you remember the beginning of this video, Ben and I were aiming to beat the famous racing drivers who have raced around here before, and Ben tied with Nikolai, whatever his name is, and I was only a tenth slower than him, and Ben and I beat everyone else except for that guy. So if you're currently an F3 driver or a touring car driver or the father of a famous F1 driver, you better watch out because the Hoyles twins are coming for you. So my brother got first, I got second, and my dad got third. That's a Hoyles 1, 2, 3. And next time someone says European drivers are better than American drivers, show them this video and prove them wrong. Of course, don't take that literally. I feel like I have to say that. But that's all I have for today. If you liked the video, please subscribe. And if you have any questions, suggestions, or opinions, please comment below. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good day.